We've already got some jokes being made in the chat. That's fantastic. Hello, everyone, and welcome to This Space for Rent. We're gonna play some role-playing game. So it's been a little while since our last session of this, but I'm very glad that we have everybody back, especially since we were down a player last time. But we had a fun session, flashback session, nonetheless. But for today, we're going to be able to resume our little campaign here. And so I think what we're going to do, first of all, is I forget how we do this thing.
It's been so long.
How talk with the words good. And so this is an RPG that is set in the universe of Space Casey, which is the audio drama that there's 2 seasons of, available as podcasts on ChristianaEllis.com, SpaceCasey.com. It's also powered by a game called Bulldogs from Galileo Games, which is based on the Fate core system. And that's basically the game mechanics stuff you need to know. So from there, let's go ahead and get started. So, as we do in this game, we look for our notes so that we can read things properly. But yeah, so as the typical credits for This Space for Rent, we have our tiny little zippy shuttle, the Tiger Shark, flying through space past the great big enormous juggernaut, and we have the soaring music, camera pulling back, observing these ships. But then we have a montage of the crew. So we have a caption with Patches, played by Spence.
Hello. So Patches is in her laboratory looking at a bunch of different beakers, and then all of a sudden the liquid in the beakers starts floating upward, and she just crosses her arms and looks up and goes, "Oh, not again."
In case we have any new folks, remind everyone what your character looks like as well.
Patches is a 4-foot-tall bear with goggles and patches on her skin, in her fur, I should say. And I'm forgetting everything else, so I'm going to pull up my bio to tell you things. Pale blonde fur with brown patches on her ears, eyes, and paws with yellow eyes.
And the next caption reads, Shem, played by Lee Burdett.
Okay, and so the camera pans up to the bridge, which actually looks kind of like Cubeville.
Yeah.
And what you see is a long black cat with a long bipedal cat just stretched out across one of the desks, completely asleep, with the tail just kind of flipping, the tip of her tail flipping. And she has Shem has fur with black and gold and gray stripes through it, and big green eyes.
The next caption, Rick Monroe, played by Nobilis.
Rick is a sturdily built, blonde Kansas farm boy, dressed in a suit made out of goo, and he is currently down in the I believe we decided it was the sauna where where the plant monster was ensconced. I've forgotten if that was
the
atrium. The atrium. That's right. Mm-hmm. So he's in the atrium, and there's like stairs and things around. It's definitely supposed to be an architectural area, and he's standing on a balcony with a bag of some kind of nuggets. The label on the bag says drunk nuggets. Who knows what a drunk is? And he's just plucking these things out and holding it out to the plant monster and getting it to just eat them off his hand without actually biting him. So he's kind of training it to eat food and not people.
Very nice, very nice. So do we want to try to have a roll of how that's going?
We could definitely do that. What should I roll on?
I am suddenly forgetting what all of the skills are in this game. I was
going to suggest rapport because that's
I think rapport makes sense. Yeah, for sure.
Okay. So I got.
Oh my god! Okay, with the 6.
Yep.
Wow.
Well, yeah.
I think you and Gerald are getting along famously.
Okay.
And last but not least, the caption reads, "Butt Up," played by Mark Kilfoyle.
It's confusing for a moment because all you see is a dark corridor, fairly narrow, but you can see streams of electronics that glow for no real good reason. It's about 2 feet by 2 feet, if you can judge by anything at all, and you can't, so you really don't know this. Off in the distance, there's a sort of electrical spark explosion, and flying through the air comes a strangely shaped bucket with a little light that glows on it. It flies by us, bounces once, twice, 3 times, then bursts through a grill in a ceiling, spilling its contents, a sort of gray ooze that's, gray around the edges, and the light's a little bit weird. It's green on the inside. A pseudopod reaches out from the side of the gray and presses a new button you haven't seen on the side of the bucket before. Womp, wompa, wompa music starts to play, and the strange form of Butt-Up, floating in the 0G of Patches' lab, starts to ripple around the edges to the music.
Very nice. And we have Smartamaster in the chat offering Murder Bear, Tricky Kitty, Good Old Boy, and Blobby Boy. Blobby Boy gets the BOI spelling.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
So now we get the quick montage of various bits of action from the crew. So can we get a few of these little micro clips?
So there is an interaction with Shem and Patches, and Patches is reluctantly letting Shem brush her fur out into these big containers of fuzz that Butt-Up is like, ooh, like he looks interested for a blob.
And you can see the chair that Shem is sitting on faintly vibrating because she's purring really hard.
Well, so I suddenly imagined a thing where Patches just assumes that Shem is using a brush, but then when the camera pans around, Shem's actually licking her. Up to you guys, that's just a thought.
I will spend a fate point to say that happens.
No fate point necessary during the opening credits. So
just a shot of Rick fighting the horde of killer robots down in the factory where the plant monster was, and just kind of running and shooting over his shoulder, and killer robots shattering, and then just kind of stopping and looking back and going, "What?" So.
And then the engineering deck that Butt-Up has set up with all of his tools and special gadgets and stuff to repair and fix and make everything bright and shiny and make improvements on his bucket. Butt-Up and Shem are working side by side but on different projects, and they're fighting over who gets the next peace, where Buttup will extend a pseudopod and snag something, and Shem will give him a dirty look, and then snag something else, and it's.
And the final one, I see them all lined up, taking a briefing from our illustrious AI captain, Captain Nemo.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. As himself.
As himself, Captain Nemo as himself. And all of us are standing there, and Patches rolls her eyes and starts to walk away, but Rick grabs her by her jumpsuit and tries to get her to stay. I may be inspired by the new Critical Role trailer, but that's...
So, as we pan back out across this enormous ship, we zoom up to where it says Juggernaut, and stenciled beneath it, this space for rent. Now, previously on, we have a lot of stuff going on for you guys. So last session was a flashback where we introduced the fact that you do, in the Juggernaut's atrium, currently have a giant plant-based monster named Gerald, who the crew has befriended and is hanging out. You've also discovered a decommissioned manufacturing facility for making warbots. So that happened.
Yes.
There was a great big red button involved.
Yeah.
Other than that, it's
candy, like you might say.
I was in surgery. I was not there.
But so back in the present, you guys are currently the Juggernaut has a couple of current jobs. One, of course, is that it is the host location for a number of different ongoing conventions, including a business convention and another one for the illustrious Order of Weavers and Dyers. And then also you had arranged to transport a group of elderly veterans to witness a beautiful stellar phenomena that is also extremely dangerous because it involves radiation storms, crystalline asteroids, and radiation fluctuations so bright that you need to wear special viewing glasses so your eyeballs don't melt. You managed to pick up those veterans. There was a bit of a bidding war over the viewing glasses with a businessman named Clip Rudin. And there's been some ongoing confusion because as you guys started to advertise, there's the main viewing port where these veterans will have the special glasses, but you also advertised that many other people could watch the phenomenon on a view screen safely. But last time, Shem noticed a poster put up over the top of one of your own flyers of someone advertising a place to watch it for real instead of just on a screen for half the price you guys were charging. In the meantime, you also have a mercenary that has bribed Shem to make the ride through the asteroid field a little bumpy. Patches picked a fight with this Clip Rudin fellow.
I did not. He picked a fight with me. I was thrown into that. I did not want to be there. Anyway, sorry.
That's why the top of my daily agenda has had the item Revenge on Clip Rudin for days.
But also, you have had an official complaint registered from the commandant and science head of the space station being transported by the Juggernaut, concerned that the radiation might damage their equipment or experiments. And also, last but not least, there appears to be some sort of weird little alien monster chewing holes in your ship. So that's happening too.
Oh, yeah.
Now, where we last left our crew was we had Shem and Rick out on the surface of the Juggernaut, outside the ship,
Yep.
having just splatted one of these little critters, but knowing that there are several other holes that have been chewed in the hull.
Yes.
And then we also had Patches and Buttup having just discovered that someone has been sabotaging ship systems and had previously sabotaged the captain's ability to speak, but that has just been repaired.
Damn it.
He kind of needed it, and he was also like, he only couldn't talk, so he was certainly getting angry with you for the longer that situation went on.
I'm sorry, sir.
And the captain's voice also now sounds like this.
It's so pleasant.
All right. So let's pick back up with Shem and Rick, though. So you've exploded this one little alien critter, and there are a couple of other holes on the hull to patch up. What's the plan here?
I think we need to go ahead and patch up the holes, and then
Well,
I was going to paint over the viewports to make sure that didn't happen.
well, is the paint going to be good enough though? Because we're talking some rather intense radiation. That might get. Is that going to be enough?
It should be enough because it's the same. It's the same type of paint that goes on the exterior hull, and the radiation shielding isn't actually part of the paint job. We're just trying to keep people from their eyeballs exploding, and then Patches being way too happy.
You do know that you could paint over the viewport for the specific area that you saw being advertised, but there are others.
Yeah.
And I mean, they could just as easily just have some feller in that room saying, "Sorry, we are being rescheduled. We're going to go to just this next door place over here. We can't paint over every viewport in the place.
Yeah.
That ain't going to work."
Yeah.
If nothing else, it would be a contract violation because some of them specifically are paying for, quarters that have viewport access.
Yeah.
Right.
To be honest, I think we should just inform them that this is a violation of their contract with regard to personnel safety, and that this is in fact a forbidden activity, and if they want to go ahead and do it, we are not liable for any exploded eyeballs that happen as a result. Because there's only so far you can go fighting stupidity.
Yeah, I guess.
You know what they say. Nothing's foolproof because fools are so smart.
I like that. Okay, so in that case, let's check out these other holes and see if we can find if they've got a nest.
Yeah, before we go patching them, I want to see if we can use them, track down where more of those critters might be. So I was thinking if the hole's big enough, I was going to crawl inside and start poking around and see if I can find one of those damn critters while you go patching the outside, because we don't want that and many more air getting out.
Right.
So how big are these holes?
So each of the holes. So if you recall, I described the critters. At least the one that you saw was about the size of a turkey.
Okay.
So and it looks like these holes are about the right size for something that big to squeeze through. So you potentially could get through, but not easily.
Yeah, and well, at least I don't have to worry too much about ripping my suit. But I'm still kind of on board with tracking this thing down. How about this? How about we try and map in this hole so we can find this spot on the inside, and then tracking it once we get inside.
Sure, we can do that.
So I'm going to see if I can well, actually, I pull out my, space tablet, start fiddling with it for a minute, and then realize that I haven't got the foggiest idea what I'm doing, and hand it to Shem. And, can you set that up? It's kind of out of my circle of what you might call skill.
Can it actually make it through the bubble?
Well, yeah, so I think, as we previously described, that your environment suit for this is like one of those big inflatable plastic bubbles to be in that has a whole bunch of, like, glove sleeves on the outside that you can stick your hands through. And so you can hand the tablet to Shem, and then she's holding it with the glove on the outside of this bubble thing. I think you have one of your own inside the bubble, though. That makes sense. What also you did is you used the Tiger Shark systems to scan for the location of the holes on the outer hull last time. And so you have the locations for those. But you also know that the first hole that you guys discovered on the inside, a hole had been chewed through several different layers and not in an obviously straight line.
Right. But I'm just thinking we need a place to start tracking this thing down. Because this will be just like tracking down a badger on the back 40 there. It's been digging holes and
well, to be sure, at least plugging all of the holes in the outer hull will prevent surprise vacuums.
Yes. So we need to patch those. I'm going to find myself the nearest airlock and get inside and see if I can start tracking down this critter.
Okay. So how are you planning to track it?
Well, I'm going to go to where if we can figure out what's the most recent exterior hole. And then from there say, all right, well, where's another hole that leads to somewhere else that's not out to space again, and just use the holes like spoor in tracking down game. Which is why I'm going to argue that I could use my survival skill.
Yeah, no, I think you're essentially tracking a creature. Survival makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm going to do.
All right. So in the meantime, Shem, are you staying outside to continue
patching? Yes.
Okay.
And what I'm going to do is I'll take Rick's tablet and connect it to the Tiger Shark so that he can use the exterior sensors from the Tiger Shark to find where the exterior holes are while he's inside.
Okay. Yep. That makes sense. So you make just a general engineering check for working on the. I was going to say just patching the remaining holes that have already been located was going to be only a 2. So your 3 result is plenty to get the known holes closed. But that's going to be occupying you for a little while.
Yeah.
So we have Rick then heading for the airlock to do that next search. But let's cut back over to Patches and Butt Up then, where the captain has just let you know there are saboteurs aboard. We need to find who they are. Whoever it is, they've been very adept at disabling my cameras and sensors in the area before they do their dirty work.
Okay, well, don't we have a biometric scan of everybody who comes on board or something? Like, everybody has to at least get a shot from me for, distemper.
I believe that would be your responsibility, Patches.
Yeah, there's a lot of weird creatures that come through. Let me see if I can identify any foreign bodies that were not recorded. Maybe.
Okay.
I think that would be a systems.
I think the sort of scan that is identify any living thing that's on the ship that you didn't already know about is asking a lot from the ship's sensors.
Okay.
Yeah. Especially since we already know that there's tons of living things on this ship that we didn't already know about.
And parts of the ship that no one has seen in generations.
Right. So I think that
we could narrow it down. Like if they're going to be sabotaging something, maybe we isolate a sector that are.
I got an idea.
Okay, but you're not there.
No. This is a game mechanical idea. It's like you want to run a scan that on the ship that will give you information about patterns with regard to where the sabotage is. Any kind of biological residue left behind by the people by anybody who might have been there, and use that and make the roll to create an advantage rather than to solve the problem.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea. And specifically, I think what the captain tells you is like all of the normal scans and sensors that would allow us to determine something like this aren't going to help us because whoever the saboteur is disabling those before they do their sabotages.
Well, I can probably make an adjustment, but the scan would probably hurt the sentient beings in the area. It would just be a slight electrical shock, but I mean, it's worth it, right? And I'm calling on. I don't know if I'm invoking or pushing on. Compelling test subjects are expendable, but that kind of feels like where I'm going with that.
Okay, well, so are you telling the captain that that's your plan?
I'm telling the captain I could probably do that, but everybody's gonna have a momentary shock that will make them discomfort.
I don't think that's acceptable, Patches. The safety of our passengers must be paramount.
Well, I mean, they'd be safe. They just get a momentary shock, like static. Like, when I run on rugs and then I touch Rick. And
let me rephrase that. Our passengers not demanding their money back is paramount.
Well, I guess. I do like getting paid. Fine. I don't know, but do you have any ideas?
Well, I know there's going to be a lot of stuff to fix. So I normally have to get a list of things to fix. So can I get a list of things to fix? That'll tell me what's broken, and maybe I can figure out what it was going for. Or where it came from. Maybe I can start there.
Yeah, so I think if you guys together want to do, as Nobilis was suggesting, roll to create an advantage, which is like you're going to essentially be creating a new aspect of, you're trying to create an aspect of there's a pattern to the sabotage.
Okay.
Right? Yeah. So I guess the question then would be, how are you doing that will determine the skill to be used for the roll.
Well, like Butt said, we'll track what needs to be fixed, and then from there, ...
May I make a suggestion that you take samples at the locations of the things that need to be fixed to see if you can find like dead skin cells and hairs and stuff like that.
Depending on the scale, that could be time consuming, but yeah.
Well, so how about this then? I'll have each of you do a separate roll. So, Butt, you can roll to create this advantage of a pattern with engineering. And then, Patches, you roll a science check to look for identifying evidence, forensic evidence.
Okay.
So I think I'm looking for a 4 from each of those.
Okay. Butt, you first.
Ba-doom. Uh-oh, not quite close enough. I'm going to invoke my engineer aptitude. I've taken apart these ships and mostly put them back together again for +2.
All right, great. So that would bring it to a 5, which is a success. A reminder just to everybody that since we started a new session, everyone should be back at their refresh level of fate points. Also, your consequence from session 2, which was that you had been partially frozen, but that should be cleared by now because that was going to clear the next scene, and so it's.
Woohoo!
Okay.
So a success at creating a new aspect is that you now have an invocation, one free invocation on the aspect that there's a pattern to the sabotage.
Okay. And so I will go to the most recent thing to fall apart and do my science for a forensic check and get a 4.
All right, that is also a success. So there is another free invocation on an aspect that you have some genetic material that you could match to a suspect, but you don't have a database to compare it against, but you could, if you tested a suspect, you could match it.
Okay. I'm going to write that down.
Yes.
Never mind. Somebody else did.
Yes.
I don't actually have any edit ability on all that stuff, so.
You're not able to add the text to the.
Yeah, it's not getting me. I don't have any.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm not sure. So this is just Roll20 miscellany, but
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think anyone else has special access. They're just using the text tool, right?
Yep.
Okay. Well, yeah. I don't think it'll matter that much.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know what would be preventing you. So I'm not sure I can.
I don't know if people at home can see what is going on. So just to explain, I've had a habit of noting down any of the aspects that are in play in the Roll20 space, so we kind of have some idea.
Yeah. So the stream display here is not showing it, but everyone's keeping notes of all of the different aspects in play because there's so many.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I think then that the two of you have each created successfully an advantage to try to help you track this saboteur. So you think you now know that there's a pattern to try to where what sorts of systems the saboteur is hitting, and you think you could match against a suspect if you had someone to test. But in the meantime, then, what you would potentially do if you were continuing to search for this saboteur is we would have another roll for discover information, which would be like, for example, what, I guess it depends on what you're hoping to do.
Well, if there's a pattern to the sabotage of the stuff, then maybe I can figure out where the most likely place they would hit next would be. And then we can stake it out. I think that's the right word, right?
I could probably do some kind of genetic testing to at least narrow down what kind of species we're looking for, and go from there.
Okay. Yeah, so I think that the basic pattern that you discovered is that they seem to be focusing on disruption of the crew's ability to respond to things. And that was why, for example, they rather crudely chopped up a very specific terminal where the only actual effect was that the captain couldn't speak to you, couldn't communicate to you, but it didn't disrupt any of the life support or anything.
Note to Patch's self. Thank the saboteurs for the brief silence of Captain Nemo. Tucks that in my jumpsuit pocket.
What's that? What are you writing?
A note to myself, Captain. Nothing major.
Yes, good diligence, Patches.
Note to butt up self. I can have the captain speak in different voices. We could sing along.
Please don't.
Perhaps later.
Woo. But please don't. I swear I will put you on the heating plate again.
But it tingled in all the wrong ways.
Exactly. So don't do it.
All right. So I guess the next question here is, given that you now know there does seem to be a pattern, and that perhaps you could use the pattern to try and determine what might be the next target, for example, Or likewise with the genetic information that you have, you can narrow down what general species type this
right. And that's
is.
what I would like to do.
Okay. Let's see. I have my notes here somewhere. I have too many places where I have different notes. Yeah, it's a thingmafian is what the species is.
Thingmafian?
It's a thingmafian, yeah. Those guys.
Do I know anything about the Thing Mafia?
They're big and strong.
Okay, Thing Mafia, big and strong.
Yeah.
Note to Patches, ask Shem who bribed her.
But Patches doesn't know that she was bribed yet.
Yeah.
So I'm not metagaming, sorry. I might mom you, though, if you give me a little bit of a hint that something went wrong.
I'd like to create an aspect so that Spence knows what Shem has done.
Okay, roll metagaming.
Note to Shell.
Must roll a 6 or higher.
Yeah. So in the meantime, though, do you guys have any immediate plan? Like, what's your next action? Like, not in a mechanical sense, but you guys have discovered that you have some genetic material, you have some sense of a pattern. Now what?
Gotta set a trap. Gotta catch that person who hurt the captain.
Are you talking like some kind of sensor on the next kind of system that they might be attempting to disable?
I mean, I was kind of thinking wires and cans, but that sounds so much better.
Well, I will leave you all to it, because now that I can speak again, I have a lot of voicemails to return.
Yes.
Are you sure? Never mind. Never mind. Because he still sounds funny.
He sounds perfect.
Sure. Anyway.
So, big and strong. Big and strong.
That's what I know
Well,
about the Thing Mafias.
I can eliminate a lot of the little things they could break because they wouldn't be able to reach them. So, no small corridors.
Do I know if they're bipedal, if they have fur?
Yeah, they are bipedal, but they have elephant trunks.
Okay.
And they're elephant people.
Okay.
Only they have feathers on their head.
Elephant people with feathers on their head.
Yeah.
Got it.
Do we have a lot of those on board?
If we do, they did not check in with me and therefore are in violation. We could technically space them, or I could, never mind, note to self, possibly do experiments on new subjects.
Maybe we can make them crew. I mean, if they have a trunk, that seems pretty useful. They could carry a whole bunch of stuff around that way.
But do you remember that talk we had about loyalty and how not everybody is loyal to the captain because they don't have a reason to be?
But I forgave you.
Right. Right. And I get paid now, so I have a reason to be loyal to the captain. But these guys are actively trying to do the opposite.
It means they really know what to do about it. And if we pay them, they'll make sure nobody else does it.
With what money? We are not hiring.
There's a flaw in my plan.
There is a flaw in your plan. Don't worry. And I go to tap him, and then I'm like, oh no, and I have goo on the pads of my paw.
Well, that's an excellent note to cut to another scene. Then I think let's check in on Rick, who's searching through the corridors. So you wanted to make a survival check to try to track
Yes.
You're tracking the critter who has come through this one particular hole that you started at.
Yes, and poking around, and you know, of course, since I can't really fit through the holes that it's created, I have to okay, there's found a hole here. Okay, look around, say, figure out which way it went. Oh, there's the hole there. I'll have to go up a deck, find another spot, find my way back around. This is not a fast operation.
Right. No, and so I think I'm looking for a 4 on your survival check here.
Okay. I rolled a -2,
Okay.
and I'm not gonna spend 3 fate points invoking that up. So
okay, yeah. So that's a failure. So what you're essentially, let's see. I'm looking at what you're trying to. I'm trying to decide whether you're discovering or overcoming an obstacle. I think that what happens here is that as you are attempting to track this thing through the ship, as we just discussed, it is time consuming because you keep having to go the long way around different corridors to get to where it's going straight through different decks. But what you actually find as you are poking through is you suddenly hear a super creepy sound, and you're scared, and you're doing that thing where you kind of turn around and you're nervous, and it's dark, this corridor, and there's chains hanging from the ceiling, and clink, clink,
for no particularly
of course
obvious
not.
reason.
No.
Yeah,
So, but you're backing away from the sound because you're nervous all of a sudden, and then you back into another guy who was doing the same thing, and
who was also creepily,
Yeah, no,
okay.
you guys
We both
totally did the
spun around.
cartoon thing where you backed into each other and both went,
Spun around, and I've got my gun on him. Has he got a gun or anything? Or
No, he does not have a gun, but he does have some sort of a mysterious electronic device that he drops on the floor when he is startled, and immediately scrambles to grab it and just says, yes, good. I'm your crew of the ship. Yes, right? Yes.
Who are you? What do you do in this part of the ship? This is off limits to everybody but the crew.
I am the science head of the space station, which is your primary cargo, and I am doing the due diligence to ensure that nothing damages our station. And I have to say that the amount of holes that I'm finding in your ship gives me cause for concern, and I think that you ought to go speak with your captain about it.
I am looking for the source of those holes. Excuse me very much. So I am on a much more important mission than that.
The holes were obviously caused by micrometeorites.
This particular micrometeorite is about the size of a turkey. Has claws and fangs like this, and
that's nonsense. I've never heard something so ridiculous.
I kind of give him a side eye because I think he might be lying to me.
You think?
I think he is.
All right. Now you got 2 choices, sir. You can either go your own way back to where you belong, or I can escort you there. Those are your 2 choices. Because this is a critical operation we got going on here, being involved with the integrity of the ship. So I'm going to have to ask you to go back to your designated area.
Are you thinking this is like a rapport? It seems like the tone is more provoke, like kind of an intimidation sort of thing.
Yeah, I think I need to pick one.
Yeah. Because rapport is if you're trying to buddy up to him and say, "Hey, come on, between you and me." But the tone of what you were saying sounded a lot more like, "No, you need to do what I'm telling you."
I think if he has any command, then that would
command,
be more like command.
Right, but I don't have that either. So
never mind.
Command is definitely the right skill, though. I mean, for what you were saying. we'll flavor it however you want.
Rick holsters his weapon and says, "Look, I don't want to make any more trouble for you than you want to make for me. We're just trying to do our jobs. That's correct. So here's how it can work. I will do you the favor of bringing you back to where you belong, and you'll do me the favor of you do me the favor of going back, following me back to where you belong, and I'll do you the favor of not telling anyone that you are out here doing beyond where you're supposed to be."
So is that a rapport? Is the
I'm trying to turn it into rapport.
Okay.
Or actually, you know what it is? It's more like haggle.
Okay.
Because I'm trying to make a deal.
Right. Okay, I'm going to say this is a difficulty 4.
Okay. I got a 2.
Mm-hmm.
And I will invoke better to trust and bleed than suspect and freeze.
Okay.
That
seems entirely appropriate, given that you are kind of, this guy's obviously acting suspiciously, but you're basically willing to take him at his word that you can just go take him back and then leave him unattended again.
Yeah.
So I think at this point he kind of gives you sort of a long appraising look and just says, "Yes, escort me back." And then, yes, let's do that.
And we're probably a fairly long way from that, because of course we are a long way from everything on this ship.
Mm-hmm.
What I imagine is going to happen next is that we're walking to like an elevator, one of the elevator systems.
Mm-hmm.
Or maybe even like the subway car things, because we got multiple different ways of getting around places.
Yeah. So I think on your way to one of these elevators, this little thing that he's carrying around starts going, bloop, 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 and he immediately puts it away in a pouch. It's like,
that sounded kind of important. You sure you don't want to take that call?
No. If you're escorting me back to the crew area, we should do so post haste. Immediately, in fact. Let's go. Come on. I thought you were in a
hurry. That's some... I hate to say this, but that sounds like someone who's lost control of a monster that goes blah.
I'm going to just turn around, just kind of cross my arms, and just kind of shake my head. And it's like, I have this feeling that you've not been fully straightforward with me, sir, and I have to say, I am hurt. I am wounded to my core.
He is already looking impatient.
that you are hiding something of vital importance from me, and I have to say I'm deeply disappointed, sir.
All right, I'm gonna need a 6 for rapport for this.
Okay, I got a 0. So,
yeah.
Well, how does he react to that?
I think he at this point is just saying, I have a lot of very important work to do, sir, and I thought you were escorting me back. This was your idea, so let's go. No, please. Right now. And in like muffled from his pouch, you're hearing.
You know something? I'm curious of what might happen if we don't.
He turns and runs.
Okay, I'll chase him.
Okay. So let's see. This is going to be competing athletic. I have to pull up his actual sheet here.
Cue the Benny Hill music.
Yeah, so he does not have an athletic skill. That's not what this guy's thing is.
Yeah,
I think
And this Kansas farm boy has a +2, so this
All right, well, we'll see.
This might be a short chase.
Yeah. This guy got a -1. Okay, so since you got a 5 against a -1. So I think what happens here is that he turns to run, and you just like immediately tackle. Well, no, okay, you tell me how does this go? You catch him easily.
No, okay. What I do is I'm jogging up next to him. Mm-hmm. Just like he's I'm just kind of loping along.
Are you running backwards?
Yes, running backwards in front of him.
Yes, good, yes, come on, continue to escort me back to the.
and then just kind of stop in front of it.
Okay,
so I'm not going any further without more information, sir. I suggest I suggest that straightforwardness is going to be in your best interest.
All right. I think in this case, we're going to make it a competing roll against his resolve.
Okay.
So I think it sounds like you're still trying to phrase it like as in his best interest.
Yes.
But the problem right now is that he does not think it's in his best interest.
Okay.
So he is going to roll his resolve against your, I guess, rapport.
Okay.
All right. All right. Okay, so he
I rolled a 7.
He has his own fate points though.
Okay.
And well, boy, 7 though, man. Okay. You know what? He is invoking 2 fate points.
Okay.
And so he is invoking the aspect does not work well with others. So you guys know that is one of his aspects.
Uh-huh.
And he is also invoking he is the one who plots.
Okay.
And that brings it to an 8. And at this point, he just kind of straightens up, and he's still kind of breathing hard. It's just, if you're going to escort me back, then do so. Otherwise, leave me alone.
Okay. First of all, am I aware of the saboteur on the station, or does that happen after I left?
I don't think anyone has told you.
Okay. All right. So
I think you knew at some point, you heard something about Captain Nemo not responding.
Okay, so I knew there was something wrong, but I didn't know that anybody had figured out that there was a saboteur.
Right.
Do I recognize this guy as a member of that?
So I don't think you were with the group that met with him before, right? I think that was Butt Up and Patches.
Yeah, but at the same time, Rick is like the communications officer.
Well, so he introduced himself as the science head of the space station crew. So I think you believe that that's true.
Yeah.
Even if you haven't met him specifically.
Okay. All right. So if I need to find out what his name is or any identifying stuff, we've got some records.
He's got a name tag on his uniform that says Keter Flotz is his name.
Okay. And what is he like physically?
He's kind of reedy. He's got he seems like he's got sort of a stony skin, and his hair is kind of like moss. But it's kind of like. I
was originally thinking Pleakley from Lilo and Stitch.
Well, you know what? I think what I'm actually going to suggest here is that he is like a less impressive alien Walter White.
Okay. All right. So okay. So I'll like kind of I'll give on this conflict, and it's like, all right, let's go, and we'll head in the direction of his his designated area.
Okay, so as you guys make your way there, you do hear this little muffled beeping.
Okay.
And he seems like he is relaxing as that happens.
Did I
Okay.
have a name?
All right, so let's cut over to Shem, who has been patching the holes on the outer hull. I think. Let's see. As you're doing that, as you've kind of, excuse me. So as I said the last time when we talked about this, these various holes all seem to be kind of along a trajectory.
Mm-hmm.
And you saw where the one came from, and so you get the impression now that they're probably, if there are multiple of these creatures, and there seem to be, they may all be coming from the same place, and it's just they're kind of flying along the ship, and at whatever point that they're able to get down to the hull of the ship, they chew their way in.
Mm-hmm.
So as you kind of put them all together, let's have you make just a general survival check. If you don't have that as a specific skill, then it's just a plain D4 roll.
I actually do have survival.
4DF. Ooh. Well then, I'm looking for. I was going to
Nope.
say I was looking for a 2. So.
No. I don't know that I have a thing that I could invoke.
Okay. Well, you don't have to. I mean, you can
Yeah.
just fail in this particular.
Yeah, I will just let it go this time.
Okay. So basically, what that means is that you are taken completely by surprise when another one of these things comes from the same direction as the last one, and it boing against your big bubble environment suit. And it's making a fight roll against your suit, but I think because of the design of this suit that you don't really have any real way to defend. So your failure of survival meant that you were unable to evade this thing as it comes, and it's making a fight roll. So it's a fight roll of -1. So I'll say that it's not especially effective, but you now have one of these things on the other side of this transparent bubble membrane, and it's going and it's clawing at your bubble suit, and it almost bounced you right off the surface of the ship.
Okay, I'm going to take a real quick couple of pictures.
Okay.
Proof of life.
Oh yeah, no, I love that.
Hold it there. Now. Grimace for me. Yeah.
Yeah, and
Pow, baby, pow.
does the flash blind it?
It doesn't seem to have eyes. So.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Well, that wasn't pre-established, but I'm telling you now.
Yeah. I have a welder.
Okay.
I have to have a welder stuck to the outside of this bubble suit.
You do, but it's because you can't. If you turn around to try to point the bubble, like it's stuck to the side of your bubble. So.
Okay. So it is in fact stuck to the side of my bubble.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to bounce my way back to. There's nothing. Well, no. Can I kind of pop it off? Like jump up and pop it off?
Yeah. You want to just kind of try to like punch it from the
and
inside
dislodge it
of the bubble to bounce it off the side.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll have you make a fight roll against its competing fight roll.
Okay.
I picture one of those, like a balloon on a stick, where you're like,
I got it too.
progress.
Yeah. Okay. So I'll say because you succeeded there, you didn't do any damage to it, but you succeeded in knocking it off the side of your bubble, and so it kind of boinks away from the bubble, and then kind of scrabbles down to the ship, and it looks like it's maybe about to scramble back towards you, but it is off your bubble for the moment.
Okay.
I've got an idea if you want me to give you something you could do.
Actually, at this point, I think I want to get back to the
Tiger Shark.
Tiger Shark.
I was thinking that you could remotely access the Tiger Shark's weapon and blast it with that.
That is possible.
Yeah, I like
Yeah,
that.
let's do that.
Or
Okay.
better yet, try to pilot the Tiger Shark while wearing one of those giant samurai suits.
All
All
right.
Yes,
So-
but I am not a Sentai Ranger.
All right. So I think that this would be it's a shoot roll.
Uh-huh.
So I think it's going to make a fight defense against your shoot.
Okay. I do actually have shoot. So
It got a 3, but you got a 4, and so yes, I think as you see it, snarling and starting to claw back in your direction, you just kind of. Doop, 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 doop. So now half of your bubble is splattered with alien goo.
yeah. I will. What would be really neat is if the bubble would, when I get inside the Tiger Shark, if the bubble collapses in such a way that the goo is saved, so that I can give it to Patches.
I mean, so I guess you could. Yeah, I mean, if you make some effort towards that, then yeah, I think we could allow that there would be some to recover.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Well, in the meantime, how many more holes do I have to patch?
I think that all happened as you were sealing the last of the ones you were aware of. But
Okay.
you also know that, like, you did a scan when there were a certain number, and since then, 2 more of these things have come from somewhere.
Right. So I'm going to head back to the Tiger Shark and run another scan to see if I can see any other holes.
Okay? Go ahead and run a systems check for that. This is a straightforward one, so I think just a 2. So, for that.
Nope.
Oh, but with a -1 roll, yeah, I think somehow you managed to turn on the windshield wipers of the Tiger Shark.
Which was good because there was some alien.
I
goo
mean,
on it.
so you can take a moment to do aspects if you want, but otherwise you're.
Yeah, no, I'm just going to say that, from what I can see, and yeah, windshield wipers, I'll come back later. When I actually have like a survival suit with my drill.
You can't figure out how to turn them off now.
Yeah, with my Chromag laser drill. Because I can just set that sucker up and let him fire away as he wants to.
Yep. All right, so you're coming back inside then?
Yeah.
All right, and I'll say that you are able to preserve the suit. Like, once it deflates when you're back in the Tiger Shark, it still has a bunch of the goo on it that you can preserve.
Yay! Present for Patches.
All right, so let's go back to speaking of Patches, Patches and Butt Up. Do you have your plan?
No. I was too busy finding pictures of Thing Mafia, which I did find, and I put it into a separate place that unfortunately nobody else could see. Anyway,
I saw it though; it was great.
Yes.
So we still got to track down. Did we figure out where the next likely location or locations would be for sabotage?
Well, so the pattern that you have, so I think that you have created an advantage of the pattern. So what that would mean is that you have one free invocation to improve a roll to determine what the next location would be.
Okay. Butt Up, do you want me to do it, or do you want to do it?
I can do it. I think I know all the whole ship. I know a part of the ship. I know a little bit in the
You
corner.
know more about the ship than I do.
I know.
Go ahead.
Okay.
So essentially, you are doing a roll to discover information, namely where will the saboteur's next target likely be,
Okay.
and you have one free invocation of there's a pattern.
Yep.
Okay. Is that a systems roll then?
Well, you were doing engineering with your, to determine the pattern, so I think it's fair to use engineering for this as well. Okay. I guess I didn't say a target, but 5 plus your an invocation, a free invocation of that's going to get it done. Yeah. So you are almost positive that, based on the systems that have been hit by this saboteur so far, that you think that the ship's primary steering interlink is going to be the next target, which is a system that is designed to basically take the pilot's controls and relay them to the maneuvering jets. And that would be the next likely place that they would want to hit.
Okay. So I want to set up a sensor or like an alert if the status of it changes, even for half a second.
Okay.
Using my systems or science.
I don't think you even need a roll to just set an alert to monitor that system.
Okay, so yeah, well, I want to set that up.
And likewise you also on the sensors that like cover that. So there's a fluctuation there would be the thing that would tip you off.
Right.
Something.
Yeah, the pattern that you have that you discovered previously is definitely that in whatever area is going to be hit, the sensors go down first.
Okay.
And then the following system, because whoever it is disabling the ability to monitor whatever they're doing.
And then I want to set up a message to deliver to Shem as soon as possible, because I remember that they were outside the ship, so might not be able to get my messages. But say, hey, I need to talk to you as soon as you get back to the bridge. Urgent.
Okay. I think that you get that more or less right away, but it's you're straining to hear it over the of your windshield wipers. You hear it.
I have a present for Patches anyway, so I'm probably going to hunt her down.
Okay.
After I find wrapping paper.
Yeah. So you receive that message. No problem.
Sure. So, yeah.
Does this mean we're going to be facing down the thing, Mafian?
I mean, no.
But
we can send in our muscle to go and deal with the thing, Mafian.
You're right. I have to get dressed. Excuse me. And I head off.
What?
I'm sorry. I have this really this image of Butt Up's bucket just sitting there by the thing, and when the sensor goes off, the pseudopods come up and he just wraps the thing Mafian up.
Nope. I'm going back to my lab.
Okay. I don't know what he's doing, so I'm gonna go back to my lab and get out my special tranquilizer guns and put them on my person. Well, take out my guns, and then I want to try to modify some darts for tranquilizers that would be strong enough for a thing Mafian, because that can't possibly go wrong.
All right, I'm trying to think. That's probably a science roll.
Okay.
I think that tranquilizer darts for a thing Mafian, they're pretty tough. So I'm gonna say to create the appropriate darts. I like to just go ahead and give just as granted that Patches has a tranquilizer gun.
Great.
That just seems like something Patches would have.
It's great. It's great for bipedal, non-gelatinous beings.
Well, and remember, as a mechanic, game mechanic, that is, you guys can have ordinary gear. Gear points are spent on things that have like special aspects to them.
Got it.
And so, in this case, then, to create a tranquilizer dart that would take down a Thingmaffian, I think you need a 4.
Okay. And so can I make them with the aspects strong enough for a Thingmaffian?
Well, yeah. So I was saying 4 is what that takes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Ready, set, here we go. Yeah.
All right, 6. Yeah. So I think you are pretty sure you are able to put together darts that, if you can successfully hit them, is sufficient sedative to take down a.
And hopefully I don't hit my crewmates or maybe.
Right, because that's the other part of what you know is that that's a lot of sedative.
Yeah. It's gonna be great either way. Test subjects. A little bit excited.
Is that a success with style, or does that take?
It needs 3.
Okay.
But
3 shows
when
for
Shem comes to find me, I'm super excited. I'm like humming to myself. Best subjects are the best. I can't wait to have them on my desk.
And when Shem has made it to your lab and she sees you bopping around and just really fun, but Shem is pretty much wrapped up in ribbon, and she's got this really messy like cube thing that's, I mean, this the most atrocious wrapping job you've ever seen.
I don't even notice you coming in, so I'm like, put in the tranquilizer dart in its holster.
Patches!
Dashed it! What?
Happy birthday!
It's not my name day. What is that?
New samples.
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 Let me get some
From the thing, and I put the present on the lab table, and I pull out my tablet and say, "Look, this is what they were when they were alive."
She pulls down her goggles, which are kind of magnifying. Going,
As a point of order, neither you nor Rick have even let Butt Up or Patches know that these things exist. So,
and why?
there was only the general knowledge that something was chewing holes in the hull.
Yeah,
So-
these are the things that were chewing holes in the ship.
So it wasn't meteorites.
No. Or if they were meteorites, then they were bacteria that gained sentience and formed from the meteorites that once they impacted the ship.
I mean, that's
Christiana takes notes.
I mean, that's a possibility. I'd have to break down the component. I'm looking at the picture right now, going, huh.
Yeah.
And what's the size ratio here? I mean, for like, I guess I know enough about Earth flora and fauna, so we can use that.
Yeah, if you remember that great big thing with the feathery butt and the
one
dangly
where
bits.
Rick had us made like a rudimentary one with his hand.
That thing.
I only have 4 things, so it didn't really work for me. It was called
a turkey.
Turducken? No.
Whatever. Anyway,
Yeah.
it's about like that. She's just gesturing.
Okay, and how is it making holes in the?
It's chewing through them. You see the serrated teeth in the maw?
I'm only a little bit sad you couldn't get one like whole because those.
Oh, there are more of them. Rick shot one and I shot another one, so there are definitely more in between the outer hulls of the ship.
Hey Rick, if you can get one of those creatures like not blasted into goo, I could probably use that. Thanks.
So I have a question for you guys. When Rick receives this communication, Star Trek TNG like, I'm sure.
Yes.
Is that something that is audible to others in the room, or is it like special, like only Rick
Did
would
we
hear it?
say that we had like a comm system?
Yeah.
Or-
But
I've got that communications collar,
right, yeah.
which
Right, so we all had the collars, which go.
Well,
into-
no, Rick has a
no.
special one.
Rick has a special one, and it's actually like made for camouflage and not being really overt. So I think that his like kind of pulses sounding to tell him that there's incoming communication, but it doesn't just immediately just blare out whatever it is.
So it takes my voicemail.
Yeah. So I would say you are almost with back to the space station crew quarters with Keter Flats when that message comes in.
All right, and I will bring him back and just like give him a wink and a finger in front of my lips if he has no idea what it means.
Okay.
And
I think at this, as he is about to go in his quarters, he kind of does a. Oh, I'm very tired. I'm going to go to sleep now. You can leave.
And you do that, sir. And then once I closed the door and left him in that area, then I will find out what people want. So okay. Hello, I'm here now. I couldn't take a call. I had company.
Oh, okay, those creatures or whatever that are like eating the ship.
Yeah.
Can you try not to evaporate one? I'd like to get one intact.
Those things are remarkably volatile. They seem to explode at the slightest provocation.
I'm sure you could like take a rock and hit it with it. I mean, you're kind of nothing.
Have you seen?
Right?
Okay, all right. Let me take just 5 minutes here. 5 seconds. Have you seen any rocks on this station lately?
Have you seen debris on this station?
Yeah, I'll go find something to clobber it over the head with, but I have a feeling it's still going to blow up. Now, I just had a kind of weird thing going on here where I was tracking down one of those critters, and came across one of the crew of the space station, just kind of reacting really weird out there in the area where those critters are chewing around.
Right.
And,
so you caught him doing something he wasn't supposed to be doing anyway.
Right. Now he had a thing on him that was going beep beep beep, and he was really nervous when it started beeping faster. And I have a feeling that he is not really on the up and up with me about much of what's going on there.
Nobody's on the up and up with you, dear. I'm sorry to tell you. Anyway, well, so in my scientific brain, that sounds like a tracker, right?
Well, yeah. I mean, I think so. Yeah.
So
I mean, Rick
clearly
came to
was-
that conclusion too. Yeah, I think
I mean, clearly that was some kind of tracker.
Yeah. And
so did you get him to help you track it down?
he was like I said, not very forthcoming with honest information.
I think just from a camera view perspective, Rick is standing in a corridor. Like he left Keter Flats at his crew quarters. He went inside, and then Rick has walked down the hall, and he's on his communicator collar. And in the background, we see Keter Flats come back out of his quarters and then run away.
Okay. All right. Well, Rick, do you want me to go grab my gun, and we can go back to that area and see if we can figure out what it was that was that thing was tracking?
I'm interested in that. He seems really nervous about it. I'm also worried about those critters running around chewing holes in the ship. That being said, we already got a whole mess of holes if you look far enough. So it's not like they're gonna cause any permanent damage right away. At least not a whole lot compared to what's already been done. Yeah. To be honest, I haven't the foggiest idea. What do you want to do?
I kind of want to go see what's going on, because if we can find like a central nest. After you left, I ran into one, and I've got the samples for patches, along with some really great pictures. I mean, this tablet thing is awesome. But I kind of I'm kind of really concerned about the hull integrity, because we're coming up on that radiation storm in another couple of days, and if the
it's not another couple of days, by the way.
Couple hours.
No, yeah, it's you are only the virtue that you had a planned route has meant that you've been doing okay so far. You are. It is not long from now that you will need to be in your pilot's chair, actively steering around asteroids.
Okay, I wasn't sure about the timing.
Yeah. So I'm letting you know now. That's what the timing is.
Okay. All right. So put a pin in that for after we get through this. Whatever this is.
All right. Well, I am going to. I guess I'm going to keep on see if I can track down these critters, because. Well, another thing is that if once we hit that radiation storm, I can't imagine those critters are going to be in terribly great shape, anyways. So you know what? Maybe they're trying to find some place in the ship that they can escape that radiation. Maybe that's what they're after. They're hunkering down for a storm. That seems to make some sense to me. And I would like to try and make an aspect out of that to kind of understand the critter's behavior.
Okay. I'm trying to think what sort of skill are you thinking that
I'm thinking
is?
survival. But he's like,
okay.
Yeah,
well,
predicting. Yeah.
I think though that you don't really know enough about these things yet, though.
Okay.
I'm going to say you don't know enough yet to just guess what they're doing. I mean, that's a potentially plausible hypothesis, but I don't think you have enough information to know that.
Like, hey, bud, if you was trying to find some place on the ship to get away from radiation on there, and you was a little turkey-sized critter, where'd you go?
Actually, because it's fun, I'll go ahead and remind you, Mark, that the first hole that you guys found, where you found Rorothy and everything, was significantly right near where you guys have the radiation storage batteries for your whole shielding setup.
Well, I'm not really good about hiding from radiation. I've turned all kinds of colors over the years. Green is just sort of what's stuck. But are you thinking these things are hiding?
That was my first thought. You think of something else?
Well, the first one actually went toward the radiation, not away from it. It was where we have the batteries were set up to reinforce the shields, so the Zeta particles will be able to be collected and put in one spot and glow really nice when all the radiation hits it. I mean, that's a side.
All right, so maybe they're seeking after energy rather than run away from it. That's interesting.
There's more than one.
Yeah, well, I splattered one when I was out there, and then Shem there shot one, and I'm pretty sure there's another one running around. So there's at least three, and probably more, because these things never as many as you know. When it comes to pests, you see one, it means there's at least 10 more. So
Christiana takes notes.
So I'm thinking we need to like hunting them down one by one ain't going to work. We got to figure out a way to lure them off the ship or something. So,
Well, where did they come from? Who brought them on board?
I'm not sure that they were brought on board. This is a weird place out here, and who knows where they came from.
Oh, so maybe the closer we got to this radiation, they kind of woke up and said, "Hey, food!"
That's a good possibility.
I don't know, Rick, because if there's somebody who's tracking them, I'm thinking that they escaped from somebody's cargo.
Wait, somebody's tracking them?
You think that you think that guy was tracking the critters?
It
Is that
makes
what he was
sense.
It would tie things up nicely there.
He wasn't a thing Mafian, was he?
No.
No, he was one of those skinny rock dudes.
Oh.
Yeah, those guys.
A thing Mafian? Where in the world did that come from?
Apparently the Thing Mafia, there is Thing Mafian DNA around some of the sites that have been sabotaged, so I have been, keeping an eye out for them.
Yeah,
But
so I think at this
y'all, it's
point,
sabotage.
Shem, you do know that the guy who approached you was Thing Mafian.
Yeah.
They're trying to make the
Yeah.
ship fly badly, but I've got a plan.
Wait,
This is all
have
over the
you
radio
seen,
too.
Shem, have you seen one?
Yeah, definitely in an area he was not supposed to be.
When was this? You never reported that.
Nope, that was right before I found out that the captain couldn't speak.
Oh, that was so nice, wasn't it?
That was.
Anyway, so wait, where did you find them? Because you're usually
They
just
found me. They approached me on the bridge to try to make the ship journey a little rough.
Why?
I don't know.
Are you going to? Yeah.
It was a lot of credits.
Okay, so they're gonna pay you.
Yeah,
Shem, you don't have to drive badly on purpose.
I know. I do just do that naturally, and it's just like being paid for what I can do.
No,
Wow.
they're going to make it worse anyway. We
They
figured
are?
out that where they're probably going to be doing the next harm is somewhere near the steering interlink. I'm going there now.
Okay.
Which way is the steering interlink? This is hard to drive.
Hard to drive? Are you-
Yeah, his
explain
warbot.
Oh, yeah, okay.
What? I still have no idea where your brain is or how you have have appendages to control that thing.
I'm kind of making it up as I go along.
I've noticed. Okay, Shem, we need to talk about talking to strangers. But that
Well,
will
if they
save-
give me money.
we'll save that. What am I doing? I'm not your mother. Anyway, so can you make an introduction? Maybe they'll pay us for keeping our mouths shut. I mean, no.
Oh,
Greetings, crew. I've been checking voicemails and it has been occupying much of my processing power. Is there any new developments I should be aware of?
Well,
Yes, I am headed to the bridge to get prepped up for our imminent insertion into the asteroid field.
Capital. Well done. Keep it up.
wait, that wasn't your plan. That wasn't your plan, Shem. You were gonna go hunt the things that are chewing up the hull.
Well, I was until I looked at my chrono and realized that we're right about to get into the asteroid field, so we'll have to go hunting later.
Well, we know that the DNA at the sabotage sites points to Thing Mafian. I don't know if we have any of those on our manifest because it's taking a long time to find species because something screwed up my database. Anyway, you don't care. So then we're Butt Up is gearing up to possibly go and head off these things, and I will be joining him because he doesn't really have a defense for that, but I do. And Rick is in the process of tracking down the things that are making holes in our hull. Now that most of the holes are plugged. Captain.
Oh, so the captain had said, "Capital, good job, keep it up," and disconnected as soon as Shem had said she was going back to the bridge.
Well, I didn't hear any of that. I miss the times when he didn't have a voice, and I wouldn't have had to say any of that. Oh. Anyway.
I'm sorry, what was that, Patches? I disconnected a bit early. It seemed you had more to say.
Oh, we're tracking down the saboteurs, and Rick is hunting the things that are making holes.
Ah, good. Good work. Keep it up. Deep. That little deep is the disconnect sound.
Got it. So, Butt Up, send me your coordinates. I'll meet up with you with my trank gun.
On the way to the interlink,
All
I
right.
think.
You think. Great. Okay. Rick, don't die. Again, try to bring one back intact because I really want those teeth. And Shem, also don't die because I need you to keep brushing my back.
Okay.
I think, Rick, at about this time, you get a communication from Zulifer, who says, yes, Mr. Monroe, I have an urgent request for you. 3 of our veterans have wandered off. They are Dresden, Doyley, and Wallifer. I believe you met them.
Yeah, yes, I was hoping that they were tuckered out last time.
They woke up from their naps and they apparently saw some kind of a flyer that there is some other viewing area for these the event, and I'm a bit confused. I thought we were paying for an exclusive opportunity.
You are playing for an exclusive opportunity to view the display,
event.
the stellar event in safety. What your friends are going to is a pirate event where they're going to get their eyeballs exploded. So, excuse me.
Oh dear! And I think that there's a sound like she's maybe dropped the communicator and wandered around the room saying, "Oh dear," some more.
And so I will be, given that everybody else is busy, I'm going to go see if I can locate them, and I'm going to try to head them off before they actually get to the site in question. Because I'm not particularly worried about people who we have not got a contract to protect doing something stupid and blowing their eyeballs up, but I am a little worried about the people who we do have a contract to keep protected. So I'm going to see if I can intercept them.
Okay. So let's see. Let's we've got stuff for everybody at this point. So let's go over to let's see. Let's do Butt Up and Patches rendezvousing at the steering interlink.
Okay.
Okie dokie.
So Patches is probably there first because I'm pretty slow. And you might be a little alarmed as you hear the clunking of bipedal steps coming towards you. It is strange, too, because the lights seem to be flickering in a very effective way to sort of shield and make the thing look a little bit unusual, slightly silvery, a little bit metallic at points. It looks kind of like a bipedal human, but definitely a robot, up until about the neck, at which point you see the rather familiar bucket of butt up where the head would normally be, somehow latched into place. Also, from within the bucket, you're, "Hey, Patches, how are you?"
And Patches is now strapped down with like 8 tranquilizer darts in a bayonet, or in a what's that called? Not a bayonet. It's
Bandolier.
Bandolier. Thank you. In a bandolier across her chest, and she's got like wrist warmer type gloves on, and her goggles, and a big old trank gun on her back. She looks kind of like Rambo. She's just like, well, one of us is overdressed, and I don't think it's me.
I like it.
Okay, do you have, like, anything to make you quieter when you walk?
Well, I haven't quite worked that part out yet. This is pretty old.
I feel like this is a bad idea, but, because if we're trying to stealth up on people that we're trying to stop from doing a bad thing, you're not going to be stealthing on anybody.
But if you get there,
to stand here.
you know, if you get there first, it looks like a pile of junk until he stands up.
Okay, well, let's try that then. Or something. I am always very confused with this ambient noise, by the way, because there's a cat meow, and I keep looking over it, and my cat's asleep again. So, anyway. Alright, well, let's go get into position then.
And I'm going to reduce the lighting in such a way where butt up is not immediately obvious.
Okay, so I think that I'm going to have both of you make a stealth roll.
Cool.
But let's first have Butt Up make an engineering roll, just a 2, to create the advantage that it's dark, which you guys can then use on your stealth roll.
Nice. I will try. Ooh, I got a 1.
Okay. So you may find that some quirk of the electrical in the system is that you actually can't turn the lights off without also shutting off power to the steering interlink.
That would be bad.
Yeah.
I mean,
That would be bad.
Okay.
But yeah, so you guys can both make a stealth roll to try to hide in this place.
And to answer
Perfect.
Smart A Master, yes, she does kind of resemble Chewbacca. Chewbacca, yes. So we both rolled a 0, so neither one of us are stealthy.
the arm kind of folds down in an awkward thumbs up.
We got this.
Yeah, I got nothing. Wait, hang on. What do we have here?
The arm kind of reaches up and pokes a couple of times on the tin bucket. Well, not tin, but whatever, future tin.
Yeah.
Until it finds the button to turn on the shield, and the whole thing kind of glows slightly.
What was the thing we thought of that? What was the prompt for that?
That had to do with preparing for the veterans, the old folks' home, what they might be doing to make trouble and get out of where they belong.
In fact, that would be a thing that Rick could invoke to help find the people. Yeah.
Yes,
Okay.
that. It was on my mind to invoke that at that point.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay, cool. All right, so we really don't have anything to help us out then. Yeah, we'll see what happens. I'll just go in a corner and wait.
All right.
Okay.
So I think what happens there is that you guys are hiding in there, and you're hiding, and it's getting kind of boring. You realize that you have no idea how long it might be before this happens, and you're waiting, and then you hear the door open, and then you hear a voice just go, "Okay."
And I pull my rifle and I aim it at whoever just said that.
Okay, yeah. So you can make a competing shoot roll against. He's going to defend with his own shoot.
Cool. Okay. So, come on, shoot.
Okay. So, well, it's a tie though. That is
It's
not
a tie.
that's not a success.
I know,
It
it's
means
it's just funny to me.
Yeah.
I was
Okay.
laughing at the irony.
aha. Fair enough. So I think you have fired one of your darts, and it what it does is it actually hits his weapon as he is raising his to fire back at you, and knocks off his aim. So there's no damage done to either of you, but you do get a boost for the tie on your attack, where we'll say he is startled.
Okay. And is it one of the Thing Mafias?
Yes.
Great. I want to shoot at him again.
Hang on. You don't get to just do infinite moves all in a row. In fact,
I'm stating my intent, Christiana.
Okay. Well, I'm just saying that you it's like in D&D. You have a turn, and then other people get turns.
Initiative. Who needs that?
Okay, I'm just double checking. So this guy is startled is a boost that has one free invocation that can be used by anyone. Meaning that Patches or Butt Up can use that on a future attack. But I think that at this point, let's see, what does he do there? He is going to just... I think at that point, what does he have? I think he's gonna charge you, and basically just go to tackle you to the ground.
Okay.
So this is he is rolling fight, and you are going to defend with fight.
Oh no.
Well,
Okay. Hang on.
Can I help this?
Well, what would you be doing to help?
I would be activating the emergency fire suppression system overhead.
Okay, so what mechanically an assist would do is give her a +1 for her defense roll.
Oh, okay. I'll wait my own
But
turn.
you can invoke the startled though, if you want.
Yeah. So I want to invoke the startle.
Well, go ahead and make your roll, but I think
yeah.
you'll probably have to do a couple of things to get up to 7.
Yeah. So my fight roll is 2.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
And then even if I took the startled.
Well,
that
remember
would-
though that the number of shifts that he beat you by is essentially how much damage you're taking. So
Yeah.
it is still worth it to try to reduce how much he beat you by.
Okay. So I also want to reduce it with my thick fur and fat.
Okay. Yeah.
Because I am very durable.
Yeah. So that is essentially what that means. How that works is you can spend a fate point to invoke it, and that'll give you a either the +2 or the reroll. But it also counts as armor, which is for absorbing damage once we resolve what's going on.
Right. So I'm going to use it as the +2 and spend
Okay.
the fate point.
All right.
But
So-
I don't see any way that I'm really gonna get out of it. If I did the
If you do both of those and bring it to 6, then you're only taking 1 shift of damage.
Sure. So we'll take the startle because I still have a gun pointed at him.
He did just tackle you, but...
Well, yeah.
But so basically, you have to put 1 stress box in one of your conditions.
Sure. I will make myself winded.
Okay. So if you are, since you are now winded, that is a condition that can be invoked against you.
Yep.
Okay. So I'm just trying to make sure I know how that works. Yeah, so basically you are now winded until you have accepted a compel on it.
Okay.
All right. So, yeah, so I basically he is startled when you fire this dart, but it blocks, and then he just boom, linebackers you into the wall and kind of knocks the wind out of you. What are you doing, Butt-Up?
Well, he was kind of preparing a speech, so the start of the speech will happen as he starts to realize there's actually a fight going on. Mm-hmm. So from behind the bucket,
Stop, halt! You have been found in contravention of legal engineering operation. Stop, please.
And for his actions, he's going to overload the electrical panel beside him. I'm going to use my "You're in my house now."
Right. Okay.
Stunt.
Okay, so you are using your engineering role in place of fight, right?
Yeah.
And so he is going to defend with fight.
Okay.
Well, so I guess what is it that you're doing with the ship too?
Overloading an electrical panel right beside him.
Okay, yeah. So he'll be defending with. Well, so are you trying to hurt him or like scare him?
Since he just took a swipe at Patches,
well,
I think he
tackled her to the ground.
Yeah, he deserves a bit of pain, so it is intended to hurt him.
All right, so he's
the
defending
dangling
with
wires
fight.
with little electricity things, or at least try anyway.
Yeah. Okay, so with his defense of 3, that is another tie. So if you want to, or are you? If you
I'm going to invoke the Juggernaut is my home.
Okay.
And he's hurting my home.
Yeah.
Question: Since electricity, would that singe me too?
I don't think so. This is Butt-Up knows what they're doing.
Okay.
But so if you invoke the ship is your home and makes it 5, then that would be 2 stress damage to them.
Yep.
Okay. All right, so they're going to take 1 each in winded and angry, but they have no new conditions. Yeah. All right. That's so I think that's a good crisis moment to cut away from. Rick.
Yes.
So what you know that those 3 old folks were missing from where they're supposed to be. You know where they're theoretically heading.
Yes, and so I want to cut them off, get there first, and keep them from going into certain eyeball exploditude.
Okay. So I think that if you want the we thought of that one free, you can use that with so what role do you think you want to use to try to intercept them?
Well, using we thought of that as kind of
that something would have delayed them.
Yeah, and also that we kind of set it up to channel them into predictable regions. So I'm thinking if it's going to be a roll, I think it's just athletics for him to get there quickly.
Okay, yeah. All right, so let's say, okay. I was going to say 3 as a target. But, so you get up to, so with a -1, you get up to +1 with your free invoke if we thought of that.
And
you can use the free invoke to reroll if it's really bad. Or any evoker?
Yeah, that in fact that was a roll of -3 to start with. So
Yeah.
I'm going to use that. I'm going to use that for a reroll.
Sure.
Oh!
No, and it was the same roll, alas. So another -1. So unfortunately, now your free invoke is gone, and you still. So I think what that means is you did not make it before they arrived, and yeah. So what you find as you go to the place where you thought they were going to be delayed and that you would catch up to them, and you discover that these wily old veterans have managed to completely disassemble these strange little constructs that you guys built that were designed to dissuade them. They clearly have not lost their infiltration skills. And so you are not able to catch up with them in time, and so what you see as you catch up to them pursuing towards this viewing area is you see them disappearing into this viewing gallery, greeted by someone who you recall from their holographic projection back in the market on Bob. It is, in fact, this other businessman that was competing with you for the viewing glasses.
Right.
And so he's welcoming them in with a smile, and they disappear inside, and then he turns to look, and the two of you make eye contact. He is assuming a posture of, I have every right to do what I'm doing, and I anticipate that you're going to try to give me a hard time, but I know I'm right. That's his demeanor.
All right. I'm gonna just step away. It's like, can I like? Yeah, I'm going to step away from him. Just walk away, and I'm gonna call up Shem.
Mm-hmm.
Say, Shem, can you turn off the lights and ventilation in section ABLQ?
Yep, I can do that.
In fact, shut off all power in ABLQ.
Okay. All right. So I'm assuming ABLQ is that viewing gallery where.
Yeah, the gallery where they are.
Okay.
Yep.
And I'll just wait around the corner.
Okay.
Yep. And I'm going to spend a fate point not to have to roll that and just say that it happens.
Oh well, no, you don't have to roll to just do a thing. But I think that I think that at that point, like turning off all power means the doors don't work.
Well, the door's open, right? He was there.
Yeah.
So.
But doors on a spaceship fail closed, man.
All right. Well, in that case, I'll go back to the door. I'll say, Shem, power up the door to section ABLQ. Leave everything else turned off.
All right. No.
So the viewport, the big viewport in that room, is not a powered thing. So
yeah.
I think what you see through the doorway is that it's this big area with obviously, it's like a big, convention reception where there's a buffet table and lots of people kind of waiting around and a big like wide viewport in there.
Okay. All right. And I'll walk up to the guy's still at the door, right?
Yeah, and he just says, "I'm sorry, but we've contracted that this is a private function, and you do not have the right to enter without our permission."
Oh, I'm not going in. Shem, I'm going to count down from 5. When I get to 0, turn off the gravity in section ABLQ.
You don't have the right to do that. We have contracted for this space, and that includes all utilities, including gravity.
Who'd you contract with?
Your management, the owners of the ship. It is one of the viewing galleries that's like part of the convention space.
Oh, this is in the convention space?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So technically he's right about that. They have the right to use that area.
Yeah.
All right. All right. Turn
I
the
know
power back on.
You're
Turn
going to
that
do
power back
anything
on.
you can to shut us down just because we're going to show these people that we can provide
I'm
a
not-
better experience than you.
I'm not here to shut you down. You go right ahead and melt all the eyeballs you want. I'm just trying to get some old folks from in there who were wandered away from where they're supposed to be. That's all. They're the only person I'm worried about.
They have chosen to pay for a superior experience, and there's not going to be any melted eyeballs because we have all of the viewing glasses that we need. You think you're so smart, don't you? Well, you know what?
Yep.
This ship is run extremely poorly, and I'm going to prove it to everybody.
Okay. All right. All right. I'm going to walk away, and I'm going to have talk to Shem and say, make sure the lights are on in that section and that they stay on.
All right.
So that so that you can't, basically, if it's dark outside and it's light inside, you can't see anything out of the windows.
I don't. I'm not sure I buy that.
All right.
Especially given that the whole point of this thing is that it flares brightly.
That's true.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I haven't the foggiest idea what to do with this, and I know that there are other things that need dealing with, and quite frankly, if three old folks are gonna get let's put it this way. I have a plan for making sure that they're held responsible for this rather than me if those folks get hurt. I would really like it if they didn't, and I hope that they don't. But we have to have priorities here, and I'm a lot more worried about holes getting chewed in the ship than I am about just three of our guests. So I'm gonna concede that one.
All right.
And go try and see what I can do to find the do something about the creatures running around in the ship. I'm going to work on that instead.
All right. So, Shem, what are you up to?
Getting ready to get us through this asteroid thingy.
All right.
The technical term, asteroid thingy.
Yeah. So, I think you make your way back up to the bridge then, or?
Yeah, I'm already at the bridge.
Okay, yeah. So you head back to the bridge, you check the systems, and you're pretty much right in time. Like, there's some Smarter Master says should be renamed so many problems. The so you're checking the sensors, and sure enough, the autopilot in your planned route has been managing it so far, but you are heading into the densest part of this asteroid field now, right as the radiation storm is starting to flare up, and so the phenomena that everyone wants to see is actually going to be, starting to be apparent pretty soon. But it also, you are going to need to be on your guard, paying attention for the, for this whole piloting role. So you want to go ahead and make a piloting roll for me?
Okay. Cross your fingers.
Right.
3.
All right. So it's a 3, and I didn't mention I know
we'll have
target.
the plus or minus for the.
Yeah. So the maneuverability of the Juggernaut is -2. So what that means is it's a result of +1. So what I was gonna say a 2, and so what I would say is as you're starting to maneuver the ship through, you're realizing there's a lot of these asteroids. Maybe even more than was in the simulator. The simulator was estimating, but there's a lot, and so I think that's one point of stress towards the ship somewhere. Like you guys there's a ton of places those stress boxes can go, but that's one. Dunk. Unless you want to invoke something.
Not right now.
All right. So are you going to put that in the dented track?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So.
I think technically she's just trying to get paid at this point.
Well, you know something that probably not is something that the saboteur there wants. So.
Yeah.
All right. So back with Patches and Butt Up there in the in this struggle near the steering interlink. So Patches, it would be your turn again.
Okay. So since I am tackled, if I can reach one of my darts, I want to try to shove a dart in.
Okay. So that would still be a fight roll.
Yeah, that's
that
fine.
he's defending with fight. So.
Okay.
All right. So,
Ooh.
Oh, ouch.
yeah. So with so he got a 6, and then against a 0 because he's good at fighting, and so
I am not.
wrestling with him on the ground is definitely gives him the advantage as opposed to you.
I'm not trying to, but I can't get up.
Right, and so basically he not only is able to evade it, but he gets a boost against you because he beat you by 3. So what's a good boost, do you think? Does he get you not pinned because that's a little too extreme, but something along those lines?
Maybe restrain?
Or he's got leverage.
Yeah,
All right.
he's definitely got leverage.
Yeah. So you are in an awkward position essentially.
Yeah.
Okay. So that was
So how many stresses do I have to take?
none because that was your attack, and so he was
Okay.
just trying to stop you from stabbing him with a dart.
Got it.
But he's basically maneuvered you into an awkward position, and then I think it's his turn, and he's just going to lean down to you and just sort of whisper, "Call off your robot friend, and none of us needs to get hurt."
He called me your friend.
Am I allowed to respond to that?
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, we're gonna get hurt anyway, based on what you've been doing to the ship. So
Nobody needs to get hurt right now.
here, chew on one of these.
It's still his turn, so bear in
I know.
mind. Yeah, you are deciding what he does on his turn. which
No,
is
I'm
fine.
not gonna do that. I'm
Up to
going
you, but yeah.
No, I don't take his bait, and
Yeah.
I actually am.
You're just
kind of-
continuing to try to sort of squirm away.
Yeah.
Okay. I think then he's going to turn towards you, Butt Up, holding Patches down, and he's going to fire his weapon. He's got a medium blaster, and it is specialized that once per session it has a +1 bonus against shielded enemies.
And guess who's shielded?
Wow.
Yeah. So he is attempting to shoot your robot body.
Okay,
And
one of the
so-
access panels is going to swing open and hit him in the arm if I'm lucky.
Okay, so that would be okay. There you go. He's got a +1, and let's see. I think, yeah. So with his +1, it was a relatively bad roll. So with the +1, and I think he's going to use a fate point that his weapon is as piercing as his cold gray eyes. Is this weapon aspect?
I get lost in his cold gray eyes.
Yeah, so that would still bring it only up to a 5 against your 6. So I think he misses, but you see that his blaster bolt makes a hole in the wall, and you're really, really glad that isn't a hole that is in your robot buddy, because it would have been. And then I think at that point he just says, "Back off. I don't want to hurt anybody. I just have a job to do."
Okay. Is it my turn to respond to such nonsense?
Yeah, it's your turn.
I too have a job to do. As defender of the ship, the Juggernaut's own personal defender. You might call me the Juggernaut. Ooh, I like that.
And I activate the self-cleaning hallway systems. So
Okay.
4 tubes come out of the walls and proceed to suction onto him to try to pull him off of Patches.
Okay. So is this is to physically maneuver him, not damage?
That's right.
Okay, so he'll be defending with physique then.
Okay.
All right. So.
I like Smartomaster's idea. Pun damage.
Yeah. Oh, dang. Yeah. So I think with an 8, you rolled the highest roll you could get plus your +4. So yeah, that's a success with style, for sure. So I would say
So these four vacuum arms kind of snake out of the walls and onto each side of him, kind of pulling him up. He now looks like the inverse of Doc Ock.
Yeah.
He's being lifted partially up off of these as they try to retract in all 4 directions.
Right. So what you essentially have is you have created an aspect on him, an advantage aspect with 2 free invocations, and I guess we would just say he's like tangled up with these tubes.
Thing Mafia sucks.
And so 2 free aspects because you succeeded with style.
That means a pun. Puns are
Okay.
style.
Yeah, and so Patches, I think that makes it your turn. You are no longer pinned. You are muted though.
Okay, so I am no longer pinned.
Mm-hmm.
I want to I want to try to shoot him in the mouth with the thing.
Okay, so this is you're going to make a shoot roll, and he does get to defend, but you do have 2 free invocations. Only one of those, the grappled thing, you can only use invoke that once this time.
Okay.
But so you get a free of that, so that would be a +2. So he is struggling to evade your shot, but so.
Okay.
So he rolled a 2, and I think that he is going to invoke another aspect of his own, which is he is a long-suffering merc. Like this is the job. And
Remember that you also have a crew pool of fate points too. You can pull from.
Yeah.
Okay. I have a ton of fate points that I haven't used yet.
Okay.
There's also the free invoke from him sucking so much.
Yes, yeah. So basically, he's got his defense up to 4. So
Okay.
you are using shoot, but you get an automatic +2 from him being kind of grappled up, and then in whatever else you want to try to do.
Okay, so I'm gonna shoot.
Mhm.
I get a
there
3
Okay.
plus. So plus.
So
the
even
2,
just +2 will be a hit with just 1 shift of damage, but you have you made these things strong enough. So
Yeah.
it doesn't do a lot of stress just hitting him, but
I would invoke everything.
Yeah, that I'm just gonna invoke everything. Just be like,
Yeah.
So I made this, which might be no, that's more of a science thing. Never mind.
well, you made it. You made it with science.
I did make it with science, and that gives me a +2.
Mm-hmm.
For just the right tool. What else can I invoke?
This guy's just the wrong tool.
So Thing Mafia sucks. I wanted to take that.
Mhm.
I didn't use the startled one, did I?
That was you did when you were
Yeah.
reducing the
you did
damage
use
from
that.
Okay.
You did
tackle.
that.
Yeah.
Okay, no problem. And then I want to use one of my fate points to add a +2. Let me get back to my fate points so I can reduce it. do. Oh, if I were a bard, I'd totally be a bard. And let's go ahead and use one of the crew pool
Okay.
as well.
So to use a crew pool fate point, it means you need to invoke one of the ship's aspects.
Oh, okay. So the ship Juggernaut has
I would accept too big to fail.
yeah, I was gonna say either too big to fail or did you feel something?
Yeah. Oh, did you feel something is good? I
Yeah.
like that. Actually.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like one of those creatures made a noise on the armor, which distracted him a little more.
Well, yeah. So I think also what it kind of comes to is that he is dismissive of this little dart, but yeah. So I think go ahead
And then
yeah, go ahead and mark those fate points, and I think as you struggle him, he's just like, you think a little things like that's gonna stop me.
And I run out of the way so that he doesn't follow me again.
So are these tubes like sturdy enough? Like, are they gonna hold him up, or is he gonna thump to the ground?
Oh, he's gonna thump to the ground. Like it's a vial attached to a needle and a
Well,
plunger.
no, he's going unconscious. I'm just saying whether these tubes he's grappled up in would hold him
Oh.
aloft or not.
That's a what-up question.
I would imagine that because they're designed to stretch out, they'll hold for a second and then thump, and then they bounce back because they're still trying to pull them out of the way. So thump, thump.
Yeah, so he's like boing, 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 boing. Yeah, so he is unconscious and snoring.
Yes, it works, and I didn't have to try it on Rick.
Speaking of Rick, let's cut to Rick. What are you up to now, Rick?
I have no ideas. For
I think
how
your
to-
communicator collar is beeping with a message from Zulifer.
I'll answer it.
Mr. Monroe, did you find them?
Yeah, I found them. They're probably safe.
Probably.
Yes. Yeah, they decided that they wanted to view the display on their own. I don't actually have any ideas for how to get them out of there. The folks who've rented that part of the ship have got a contract for it. I can't oust them out of there. I don't really have ability to go in there and drag those folks out. They're but you know something, if anything does happen in there, it's going to be a lot more than just your folks who are going to have a problem. So
This is not reassuring me, Mr. Monroe.
I'm not reassured either. So I'm out of ideas when it comes to those folks, because I got other stuff that's on my agenda today, and quite frankly, it's the welfare of more than just 3 of your folks is at risk here. So I'm afraid that I'm going to have to leave that.
I think at this point, what she says, Mr. Monroe, we signed a contract saying that you would guarantee the safety of all of our. Wait, what are you doing? And then she's like obviously chasing someone else, and the phone disconnects.
Okay. Yeah, yeah, I mean, I've been thinking like I could try to sneak in there.
Mm-hmm.
Rick is not good at that kind of stuff. I can't really mess with the whole place the way I wanted to.
Mm-hmm.
I'm really, kind of out of ideas on that. The rest of the crew have got their own stuff they're dealing with, so I can't ask them for help.
Well,
If I may suggest,
Yeah.
I think that Rick is fairly good at, well, I won't call it lying. Let's call it exaggerating possibly truthful statements. And he could offer a prize that they have all won, and they have to go to a certain place to pick it up. Or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, and you could. I mean, the other thing is too that you could just at least make sure everybody else knows what's happening and that sort of thing.
Yeah. 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 I'm gonna. That's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna call because actually probably I would call Bud up because he's the least likely to yell at me.
Mm-hmm.
And tell him what's happened. And that three of our passengers have got into the viewing gallery. I tried to cut him off. I wasn't able to. And I have not the foggiest idea what to do about that.
So do you tell?
And there's still them critters running around that run around the ship that who knows what they're up to at this point. So
That's okay, Rick. You're kind of young after all. But hey, we caught a thing Mothrian. That's good.
Congratulations on that.
So, by design, I have created many parallel problems that would be difficult to solve all simultaneously. So, don't get too caught up in the fact that I have created a problem for you.
You realize, Rick, that when the ship is in danger, we have to evacuate certain areas.
Yeah,
and that's mandatory. No one can turn you down from that. And if that room is in danger, it would have to be evacuated.
Yeah.
Do you mention who it was that was leading this whole thing?
Yeah. I filled him in on everything.
Okay, so Butt Up, you would remember that this is the jerk businessman that you and Patches went to talk to
Clip?
because he was, yeah.
Clip Roden.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's the one.
Initiating emergency in that section.
I'll proceed to set up an emergency alert in that section.
Okay.
As there was the occupancy for that room has been exceeded and has caused an environmental breakdown. Because they have more people than they were supposed to in that room.
Yeah. I'll say make a systems roll, but the relatively easy one, just probably 2 for this, just because this seems like a fairly standard thing to do.
Okay. That's a 4.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, so
Awesome.
I think Rick, as you're standing there, feeling a little despondent about what to do, but you talk to your good friend Butt Up, and all of a sudden the lights kind of dim and start blinking, and then you hear the computerized voices saying, "An emergency has been declared in this area. Please proceed to a safe location. Follow the lighted arrows on the floor." And there are no lighted arrows on the floor.
Haven't fixed that yet.
And it's Patch's voice. It's so disinterested. An emergency has been indicated in your area. Please go to the designated safe zones.
I'm not saying you're all going to die, but
follow the lighted areas.
So I think, Rick, just as you're probably feeling like, ha, you hear basically a lot of screaming from inside the room. And so then we'll cut back over to Shem. You are making your way through these asteroids, and in fact, it's a good thing that you guys decided to make sure that your pilot display has the ability to filter out this phenomena, because it's starting to happen. And I say that you did because I think you would have, even though you didn't actually say that. But yeah, as you guys are, you're entering in there. I think what is your take on this, Shem? Because what is starting to happen is you can see your sensors are showing like where the radiation fluctuations are showing, but on the visual display, mostly what you just see is all of these glittering crystalline asteroids, swirling through the void, are starting to blink and flare in all sorts of amazing colors, creating all these swirling auras all across the space in between. And it is incredibly beautiful, and also obscures the path that you're trying to pilot the ship through.
Okay, so I am going to say that no, I am not in fact hypnotized by these nice moving colors that are.
Well, flip the display over to just kind of wireframes of the asteroids, so that you just.
People pay a lot of money for this view.
But not me. It's kind of like that cat trying to pat the fish. But she shakes her head and shakes out of it. The route is a planned route. So I have that programmed into the computer. I think I'm going to have to invoke that.
Okay.
And it invokes against me, so I don't really have the ability to.
You can still invoke it, but you don't. It's not a free invoke, so you do have to spend a fate point.
Yeah, but it's an invoke against me, so it means that
someone can invoke it against you for free. You can. It is a regular aspect, though, that you can also invoke. You just can't do it for free.
Yeah, I'm going to invoke that, because if I can't make adjustments, I'm going to have to rely on the simulations that I ran to try and make it through. Yeah. And yes, it is going to be a guaranteed bumpy ride.
Okay. Yeah, so I think I'm looking for a 3 on your pilot check this time.
Cross my fingers. 5.
Okay, well, 5 minus 2...
Yeah, is a 3.
Is a 3. So at least for right now, there's a couple of uncomfortably close calls, but you have managed to make it through this segment without any additional damage. But as you are doing that, you do notice the special little display that you guys, that Patches and Butt Up had added when they enhanced the shields, is giving you a little indicator message that the energy that was being stored to boost the shields is apparently at 50% and falling.
Okay. And so I will radio that into Patches and Butt Up. And also, I would like to note that I am shedding all over the place.
Stress shedding? Like tail all bushy and everything?
Yeah, so it's just nothing but fluff, and fur is just kind of drifting around, so...
Okay, well, that's a thing. So, we've got a sleeping thingamafia, thing.
Do we have like a security team on the ship?
Nope, it's just you guys.
And Gerald.
Well, Gerald's not exactly mobile.
So.
Oh, the robot body is pretty heavy. I lie down on top of him, then crawl out of the head.
Okay. Well, also, it looks like he's out. You guys did enough damage with that sedative that I think you're confident this guy's going to be unconscious for hours easily.
Yeah.
Everybody remember where I parked my suit.
I will. Don't you worry. So let's go and check on our battery.
It's a really long walk.
I'll carry your freaking bucket
With me in it?
with you in it.
This little murder bear waddling along, holding a bucket full of slime.
Just like Rambo with the bandoliers and the handgun on her back.
Yes. Carrying a giant wash basin full of gooey butt upness.
Yeah. With two pseudopods straight up going wee like a roller coaster.
Of course.
All right, so you guys are headed for the battery. Rick, I think what you are finding is that, first of all, you realize when the door opens as this evacuation message is starting to go. Without having a direct line of sight on the viewport, you can see that there's light flickering through the viewport, so you suspect that this phenomena has started.
Yeah. All right. Are people actually coming out the doors?
Well, I want to address one thing first, which is to say, do you have your own pair of viewing glasses?
Uh,
I'll let you declare that you have one, but that'll cost a fate point.
no, I don't, because
Okay.
I was not interested in actually seeing it.
Okay, so you have a feeling then that you probably should not look
Yeah.
in there directly.
All right. So
What you see is that there are people spilling out, looking panicked, and then you also are hearing screaming, and some of them start coming out holding their eyes like, the glasses, they do nothing!
And I'm gonna find a kind of a shaded spot just to keep an eye out for my veterans.
Okay, so you're just
and
hanging
kind of
out and watching
Hanging
these
out
people,
and there's a
four
spread of
conventioneers
kind of
spilling out, panicked.
Scoop them out of the flow of people. So, hey, all right, hold it. Wait here, and just kind of, let the idiots with the substandard glasses go panic themselves.
Okay.
And just kind of keep my people safe.
All right, so Dresden, Doily, Waddlefer, you guys determined that it was probably best, if there was a special, different, extra viewing place, that's probably, wouldn't it be cool for you guys to get something that all of your other members of this cruise weren't getting? And so you decided to go check out this other place. But once you got in there, and it was like buffet table, big viewport, it's going to start soon. You're handed a pair of these little cheap looking glasses. What are you doing? In case it wasn't clear, these were the 3 old veterans that you guys played, so I'm asking you to do it.
Who did we say that each of us were playing?
You were
I was
Dresden.
Doily. I was Doily.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mark was
Dresden is gonna look at the glasses and go, I mean, the other ones looked sturdier, right? These ones barely fit over my spectacles.
They look really crappy, honestly.
Yeah. Doily is gonna pull the other glasses out of her handbag and put them over because they were already handed out before they snuck.
Yeah, because you guys have the other ones to compare to, the ones that you were given when you came into this place look like they were bought from some guy in a trench coat.
Right. So, I'm gonna follow Doily's lead and be like, this is gonna be interesting.
What about you, Oliver? Oh, did we lose Mark?
No,
there we go.
I'm just trying to remember what I had to do with this. I don't know if I was there for the session.
Oh no!
Yes, you were.
Remember this was the 3 of you that were the veterans who were arguing about what's luxury.
Oh God!
Yeah, those 3 guys.
Oh yeah, okay.
So
Oh, man.
my notes, incidentally, about what you guys decided that Dresden was purple-haired, green-skinned, dwarf-like creature.
Yep.
Doily was a small lizard person with long talons and prosthetic legs. Wallifer had the center of the body replaced with an insect-like torso with prosthetic legs.
Oh wow, that was so long ago.
Remember when we did the rap battles? and
Yeah,
stuff?
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Jeez. We'll see what the two of them are doing. Definitely not going to do that. So turns away and does exactly that.
Okay.
So puts on the glasses they were given here, the cheap ones, on top of the really expensive ones, trying to hide that he's actually.
Oh, okay. So, with each of you wearing the actual, proper, real, not fake viewing glasses, you guys have an excellent view of an incredible, once in many lifetimes, stellar phenomenon experience. It's incredibly beautiful, marred slightly by the fact that everyone else in the room is screaming as their eyeballs melt.
And this
Also,
is
the
why
alarm
we didn't-
starts flashing, and it's saying that the room needs to be evacuated.
Yeah, Doily turns off her hearing aids.
And it reminds me of the war.
So they're all hurting.
Yep, just like the war.
And I gesture once I should see that that Doily has turned off the healing light, and like they're all hurting. Eyes. Let's stay here for 5 minutes. They will run. They will run away.
They're panicking and bumping into each other and stuff,
Seats.
tripping over Shay's lounges. Some guy crashes into the buffet table, goes face first into a bunch of pie.
Yeah.
Also,
Doily
his
gives you
eyeballs
two
are
thumbs
melted.
up and goes back to watching the phenomenon, going ooh.
They're just sitting there going, yeah, this is pretty cool.
So, Rick, your veterans are not coming out.
We've seen worse.
Seen worse things in the war.
I think he's just kind of he's gonna be just waiting there, getting more and more worried.
Yeah.
Gnawing on his fingernails, and watching the other folks go out. He's like, all right, and he does have it in his mind that they've got the better glasses.
Mm-hmm.
Those were already handed out, so but he also can't look, so he's like, I hope they're
and
okay.
you haven't done anything with the intercom or anything.
Well, I mean, again,
You know what their names are.
So, I'm gonna want you to make, like, you're making a, I'll say, survival check against this guy's stealth check.
Okay. I got a
Okay.
4.
Yeah, so you spot Clip Rudin with his own set of glasses that don't look like the kind everyone else had, trying to slink out of the room and down the hallway.
Okay. It's like, oh, just the man I was waiting for. And it's like, why don't you come on over here? It's completely safe where I am.
It's an emergency! I have to evacuate! Sorry! He runs away.
I'll chase him.
Okay. All right. So, yeah, he's at least got a little bit of athletics. So,
I rolled a 3.
okay, he got a 4. He's getting away from you. At the very least, he hasn't lost you, but he's making you have to run further and further
Okay.
away from the.
No, I'm going to spend a fate point.
Okay.
And invoke you say farm boy like it's a bad thing, and
All right.
and pretend I'm chasing down one of the hogs,
Uh huh.
and and tackle him.
Okay, yeah. So I'd say you get him, you tackle him,
Okay.
and he just says, "Don't take your hand. You just take your hands off of me. I'll sue you
Sue me for what?
for assaulting me, assaulting a passenger."
For putting hundreds of passengers of the ship in danger. Is that what you're gonna sue me for?
No, I'm not suing you for that, but shouldn't you be helping with that evacuation?
No, everything's fine. There's nothing going wrong at all. It's all been handled.
You let me go. It's your fault. This ship put all these people in danger by exposing them to harmful radiation.
Is that so? Well, you know what? I think we're going to have the once have all the details worked out by your company and ours, and we'll just see who's liable for what. But in the meantime, I think I'm going to have to be keeping track of you. So as the member of the crew charged with maintaining order in this particular situation, I'm duly taking you into custody, and I'm going to bring him to whatever we have that functions as a brig.
Okay. So while you're doing that, you're leaving behind the hundreds of people who are screaming and failing to evacuate and trampling each other with their melted eyeballs.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. All right. Okay. So Patches and Butt Up, you're headed for that shield battery, right?
Yep.
Oh yeah.
Yep. So I think as you make your way in there, it becomes clear on your way there that there's several more places where it looks like holes have been chewed in the walls.
Oh,
You see
fun.
a couple things like that.
Speed holes.
Yeah, the two of you are actually, you could probably fit through those holes if you wanted.
Where do they lead?
They seem to lead towards the shield battery.
Okay, great. Hey, we're gonna do that because it's the path of least resistance. Why not? I have a rifle with a bunch of tranquilizer in it. Fine. Everything is fine.
So as you guys make your way to the big area where you had created these batteries to store the Zeta radiation and boost the shields, what you see in that room is a couple of things. One is on the floor. You see a being in a lab coat holding a sensor device. The lab coat seems familiar, but it's hard to be 100% sure that it is in fact Ketterflot's because his head is missing. But you suspect you know how that happened because attached suckerfish to this giant shield battery are 3 enormous monster things.
Okay, I want to.
Each of them significantly bigger than you guys.
Okay. So
It's like they're hugging it.
we can either shoot at them with my giant tranquilizer gun.
No, we could hurt the batteries, and that would be really bad. You know what Zeta radiation feels like? Because I don't.
I don't either. But if we don't do it, then they're going to take out the battery, and we'll still have the Zeta radiation.
Nah, these things work to capacities way beyond the normal. I'm sure I can figure something out. I mean, after all, if the overload of the batteries just explodes, they'll go with it. So they wouldn't want that.
I don't think they're that smart.
Yeah.
There's a lot of metal around here. I'm sure it'll absorb most of the radiation.
I can't.
That's a
Maybe you should see him, and I point with the guy with the no head. He looks to be rather concerned.
Well, he looks to be rather dead.
Oh.
Yes, because when you take the head off of most sentient bipedal beings,
You grow a new one.
no.
Oh. Seems like a flaw.
Well, yeah.
Yes.
A lot of people don't regenerate body parts, especially the center of the nervous system.
Well, you never know. It may be that his head, wherever it is going to regrow the rest of the body from that end.
It's possible, but I think it might have been ingested. So, I have a cat. I'm distracted.
I just kind of weirdly see Patches walking to the middle of the room with the dead guy still standing up, and she's petting the dead guy for some reason.
Hey, Shem, make another piloting roll for me.
All right. 2.
Okay. So with your -2, I think that the Juggernaut, takes another 2 stress points.
Whoop! Not supposed to do that.
Okay, so...
I'm gonna need your help. I'm gonna string some wires across the room. It'll look really, really ugly, but trust me, it'll probably work.
Well, I don't have a better idea, so sure.
My plan is to extend the battery beyond its normal capacity, because if
Okay.
they're draining it at a high rate, then it could probably never fill up. But it might also explode. I don't know. So I'm going to jury-rig the room.
Okay, I'm not sure,
So the external part of the hull as well could also act as an external capacitor. So I'm kind of hoping to extend the battery so the entire ship is essentially the battery. It'll probably rip off some levels of the hull and probably send a few things screaming.
Yeah, see,
But,
the thing that the battery, what it does is hold the hazardous zeta radiation so
think
that
that's
you
what I
don't
have
all
to-
die from it.
Step away.
We were also using the radiation, though, to generate shields.
Right, but so what these things are doing is draining the energy, making that less effective.
Right, so if I overload it, then they get all
Overload
they want.
it
And
with what, though?
basically, we couldn't bring in all the radiation that was coming in, but now I'm going to let it bring in all the radiation it could. Because there's far more radiation than it normally could bring in.
Well, so the way that I had interpreted the way the device works is that the shields needed to be more powerful to absorb the radiation, but you designed it to absorb the radiation and use that to power the extra power it needed, and it was storing some extra. So it's absorbing and
Yeah.
storing and
Mhm.
using that stored energy to power its ability to do
All
that.
right.
But
Let-
they are
let-
draining it.
Hold on. Hold on. Before we start getting deep into a discussion about how this and that works,
Yeah.
why don't you just reverse the polarity of the neutron flow?
That's kind of where I was going, actually. I'm reversing the battery and turning it into a feeding joint for them.
Well, so I guess what I'm trying to get at is you're trying to give them more radiation?
Well, if they're eating, it's the kind of thing where they're eating out of the trough so fast the trough is getting low, so I'm going to just feed the trough faster.
Okay.
And
So
try
I'll
to make
still have
them
the power.
explode, essentially.
Well, I mean, that might happen. I don't know. They might just like it.
Well,
It's basically, if they're draining the battery below 50%, I'll let the battery charge to 150%, and they'll take up the extra 50.
You can do the engineering part with that. I don't think have any way to know what result that will have on them.
Oh, I've told you, this could be very, very bad.
Yeah. So go ahead and
It's probably not going to explode the entire ship.
make an engineering roll. I'm looking for a 4, I think,
Okay.
because you got a pretty high roll to invent this thing in the first place, and now you're just casually tripling its capacity.
I'm a jury rigger. This is what I do.
Yeah.
It's probably going to burn out afterwards, but we'll see what happens. So I'm going to invoke with my last fate point. Let's see. Oh, it's tempting to vote that, but that won't happen. I'm going to invoke. I've taken apart these ships and mostly put them back together again.
All right. Okay.
It gives me
So
4.
you think that this is perhaps not going to last that long, but
no.
for the moment you have supercharged it, and the room glows with more light as this thing flares up, and I think you guys can actually watch these things getting bigger.
They like it.
I was afraid of that.
Are the levels starting to stabilize a little bit, or is it still dropping?
They are. So, the analogy that I'm thinking here is that if these things are like leeches drinking the battery's blood, you have decided to give them more blood. But like that doesn't mean they. It only means that there's more for them to drink. It doesn't necessarily mean that they automatically are overstuffed to the point that they blow up.
They may get full, they may not.
They may, yeah, but
I'm
they're
just
also getting
stabilize.
bigger right now.
Yeah, I'm just
Yeah.
trying to stabilize because it was dropping, and that was the dangerous part.
Okay, I'll allow that. It looks like the shields are not about to fail, but these things are getting bigger.
Are they supposed to do that, Patches? You know about things that do things like this.
I mean, it makes sense considering that these appear to be the same creatures that Shem gave me pictures on, but they're way bigger.
And hey, they're not eating the hull anymore.
No, they're not eating the hull anymore. But what happens when this celestial event is over?
That happens later.
Mm-hmm.
But today, right now, we're alive.
Well, that guy's not.
Yeah, that guy's not. I want to go over to where that guy was and take his data pad.
Okay, yeah. You can tell. Oh well, make a science check, difficulty 3, to try to figure out what he was doing with his little device there.
Sure.
Okay, yeah. So yeah, you can tell that what he had his little device set to display was sources of concentrated zeta radiation, and it very clearly shows this battery as a place where radiation has been concentrated. And essentially what you can see on its big old display as it goes beep, 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 is that there's a big battery shape and 3 big blobby shapes around it.
Okay, but there's no discernible data about what these things are.
Well, not immediately on it's not what it's currently set to do.
I'm gonna take it with me and just slowly back away and try not to draw attention to myself.
You do recall though, this is the guy who was specifically complaining that he was worried about what the radiation would do to the station experiments and equipment, and that you showed him the schematics of your whole shield setup.
Oh yeah, him. No skin off my nose.
I think the captain comes in at some point and says, crew, the Commandant Bouveau of the space station has reported that his science head is not in his quarters. If you see him, do tell him to report to his commandant. Thank you.
Science head is definitely missing.
Captain,
You can confirm.
we can confirm that he no longer has a head. He went into an unauthorized area and suffered a major accident because he was in an unauthorized area.
No response for a little bit. Commandant Bouveau is not pleased to hear this.
Well, they did break the contract of authorized personnel only areas, so there's really no recourse that they can take because they violated that part of their contract.
Well, of course you're right, so at the very least, make sure there's no mess.
Sure. No problem.
Should pretty much all be gone fairly soon.
Yes.
Very good, then. I have a few more voicemails to check, so I will let you know if anything changes.
Thank you, sir.
This roof is probably going to melt soon.
We should move.
These things are still going. Yeah, they're essentially, I would say, they're the size of like a grizzly bear now. These things.
We should be like ready to I don't know,
Okay,
space
guys.
that area.
Guys, it occurs to me that that if zeta radiation is what they're after, the biggest source of that is going to be outside the ship right now. So if you can figure out a way to get them off of these batteries, that might be where they go. But that is me talking, not Rick.
Well, here's just a quick meta question. Like, it is getting late. Does anyone need to take off? Because we could make this a cliffhanger and continue.
Yeah, it is getting kind of late too.
Yeah.
With the time change tonight, it does make it a little tough to get up tomorrow morning.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, let's cliffhanger it.
Yeah. All right. So, brief reminder that Shem is white knuckling you guys through this crystalline asteroid field. Butt Up and Patches are surveying the mess of this battery room and the growing creatures that are, leeching off of it. Rick is escorting Clip Rudin to the brig with a bunch of screaming people with melted eyeballs in the background. And to be continued next week on This Space for Rent.
Dun, dun, dun.
And another advantage being next session we'll have our fate points refreshed.
Indeed, that's true.
Yay.
Yeah, but you guys, yay! Good job, everyone. All right, so I think we'll leave it there then for tonight. So thank you everybody for listening or watching, especially if you're watching us live on Twitch at Smartamaster and Mother Dragon in the chat and the Computer King joining us. There's a blast from the past name there, and so we'll be back for more. I think we'll try to do next week. Can everyone do next week?
Yep.
I think so.
Great. That's the plan then. So we'll leave it there. And so good night, everybody.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Fare thee well.